there is the odd Theater of the Mind supporter. You know, I do Theater of the Mind, but there is the odd Theater of the Mind supporter that will say that miniatures and boards and pictures get in the way of the imagination. And when you tell that to people that like minis, many of them will get really, really, really upset and they'll disagree. Okay, let me tell you where I stand on this. If you sat down with a group of players, no miniatures, no board, and no visuals, no pictures, you strip away everything a player could look at, I guess, to be inspired, come up with ideas, and you give that group of players no other choice than to imagine what you're describing. Again, they have no aids. They have no miniatures, no board, and no pictures. And you, the game master, all you have is description. That's it. That's what you require for everything. You need to describe everything to the players because you don't have a board, there is no miniatures, and you have no pictures. When a player truly has to go inside of their mind to play the game, to go inside of the imagination, you will see them have an experience like the one they have when they watch that movie that they are focused on, the one that they're into, the one where if you were 10 feet behind them and said their name, they wouldn't even hear you. You'd have to say their name more than once, you'd have to tap them on the shoulder. Well, guess what happens when you force a player to have to go inside of their mind and their imagination and you give them no other aids? They have to be inside of the mind to imagine what you are describing to them. They can get so lost inside of their mind that it becomes like that movie. They're focused, they're having a great time, and if somebody came into the room that was 10 feet behind them and said their name, they probably wouldn't hear them. They'd have to say their name a few times or tap them on the shoulder. In my opinion, inside of the mind, inside of the imagination is where the game is at. And I must also add that miniatures are there to help you do things like combat. They are not there as a replacement for the imagination. And if you start trying to replace what your imagination does, you'll have less fun. Yep, there I said it. And if you don't agree, go try this out. Go try out a game where there's a game master that really knows what they're doing with Theater of the Mind, and buy in like you would any other game. You can't go into a game where you don't buy in and have a good time, because you could go into the greatest game ever, and if you don't buy in, you won't have a great time. So you got to buy in, but then try it out. And after that, you tell me if I'm wrong. I won't be wrong, and I know I won't be wrong. Your imagination is more colorful and more wonderful than any miniature or board or visual could really offer you. But if you don't use it that often, if you do look to the miniatures and terrain to take care of that for you in most games that you're playing, you are missing out as a player on what I consider to be the best experience you could have in a gaming session. A 100% pure Theater of the Mind gaming session, start to finish. So don't let the board or miniatures or even visual get in the way of your imagination. And if it does, and in many cases sadly it does, move that stuff out of the way. Use description. Go ahead and play the game in Theater of the Mind. You can do anything, small combat, mass combat. There's no area of the game that Theater of the Mind doesn't work. And don't listen to people that say otherwise. It's just they're telling you their limitations. Somebody without their limitations has no problem with Theater of the Mind at all. So yes, I personally believe that Theater of the Mind is better than playing the game with miniatures, a board, or visual. I believe it's a more superior way of playing the game, and the experience is better for you and your players. Anyway, for now, take care. You know what you can do? You can hit the like button. You can share the video. Oh, and there's another button you can press. That one that lets you subscribe to my channel for more content. Oh yeah, there's that bell thing. You can press that so you know when I've uploaded a new video right away.